What's up, everybody? Welcome back to you guys tuning in. Episode number 3. Still no football, all right? But it looks like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Bundesliga announced May 9th. We're going to have football at least on the telly. We're going to be able to enjoy anybody. I'll watch any Bundesliga team. I'm going to eat all those 10 fixtures per week and up. And I'm sure everybody here stateside and across the globe is equally excited. Let's hope that they can pull this off. But today I just want to get straight to our U20 pool again. And episode number 3, the topic is Gio Reyna, Ulysses, Llanez. I think we've gone mad as a footballing nation, all right? I've heard commentaries, articles, nonsense, that these guys are above it, that these guys are senior men's national team player and they shouldn't be on our U20s anymore. Have we lost the plot? Are we crazy? I mean, listen, for context, I'll be the first to defend these two. I think they are the real deal. I think they are the truth. I think they are realities. They are not prospects. But have we gone mad? I'm going to rattle off a shit ton of players for context across the globe that have been U20 superstars at the World Cup, that were above in their careers where Gio and Uli are now, and had no issues going and playing in a U20 World Cup because it's important for their development, for their teammates' development, for the progress of the country's stature in world football. And I'm talking about countries like France and Spain and Brazil and Argentina, countries that have won Youth World Cups, countries that have won Senior World Cups. Last I checked, we haven't won either, okay? We are middle tier. We are not elite. We haven't competed and won a U20 World Cup, a U17 World Cup. We haven't even qualified to the most recent Senior World Cup. So what are we talking about? Back to Uli and Gio. Gio, let's recap real quick. 17 years old, just made the move to Europe, had a European passport, played 4 months of U19 football for Borussia Dortmund, got promoted, sees his opportunity in the January preseason, has played 10 plus games, I think 10, 11 games off the bench for Dortmund between Bundesliga and Champions League. I had the fortune of being there when they played PSG, and Gio came in and sparked the comeback to win that game, all right? This is the impact that Gio Reyna can have when he's at his potential, when he's playing at his highest level, all right? A real player. I compared him to Richarlison and to Julian Draxler. That's what Gio is, and he's a 17-year-old, and he is ours. Ulysses Llanez. The hype is real, guys. I know he's got a big following. I know he's flashy. He's a winger. We don't have this type of guy. He dribbles. He's faster with the ball than without the ball. It's so unique. It's Messi-esque. When Messi runs with the ball, he's faster than when he was running without it. And that's how Uli is. It's so rare. It's such a high level, okay? And we'll talk about Uli. Senior men's national team debut in January. Didn't just debut. Was with the team for a month. Proved himself. Consolidated himself. Started the game. Was man of the match. Scored the goal. Rave reviews, and that's the level that he brings. He just plays football. He doesn't care what level it is, and we're talking about somebody that it's very, very rare. The last guy I could remember playing for his men's senior side and having not debuted for his club team is Javier Mascherano. Back in Bielsa's days, I remember he was an undisputed starter for Bielsa in midfield, having not even debuted for River Plate. Okay, that's the special type of player that we have in Uli and Gio. It's remarkable. However, I'm going to start rattling off names, for global context. We're talking about, let me give you a most recent example that I think everybody could identify with. Paul Pogba, Phenom, crack, Manchester United, World Cup champion, U20 World Cup champion. Yes, in 2012, 2013, if you rewind, he had just moved from Manchester United to Juventus in a solid deal. I think it was, 9-10 million euros. Started that season for Juventus in 20 plus games, started alongside Arturo Vidal and Andrea Pirlo in what, in my opinion, incredible midfield. Led them to the Serie A title, the Scudetto that season. Played Champions League football. He wasn't too big time. His peers, his country, his journos, nobody said, hey, Paul Pogba's a starter for Juve. He can't play the U20 World Cup. He's above it. No, he lined up, he sang La Marsellesa, he lifted that U20 crown, and we all know where Paul Pogba is today. Whether you appreciate his qualities or you think he's trash, he is a world-class star. All right? I'm going to start rattling off other names. Have you ever heard of Lionel Messi? Oh, yeah, that's right. The GOAT, the greatest of all time. Right? Barcelona superstar, Argentine superstar. I recall the days. He had already debuted for Barcelona, and he lined up, went to the U20 World Cup, was player of the World Cup, propelled his career, made that jump. With that confidence, with that swag, he went back to Barcelona, and he consolidated himself right away as a starter the next season. Sergio Agüero, the following U20 World Cup, in Canada, mind you, Player of the World Cup. He had just transferred from Independiente to Atletico Madrid. $20 million transfer. He had played in 20 plus games that season under Vasco Aguirre, the Mexican coach for Atletico. He had banged in, I think, 8 goals in his inaugural season. He wasn't above it. He stuck to the routine. He acquired that experience. He went to the World Cup. He balled out. He lifted the cup. And it helped his country, and it helped him, and it helped all his peers around him. I remember Di Maria was part of that group as well. I think Maxi Rodriguez. Great generation. I'll rattle them off all day long, guys. Diego Armando Maradona, snubbed. 1978 Senior World Cup, snubbed when Argentina won it. The next year, as an 18-year-old, didn't say, hey, I'm a senior player, I'm above it all. No, he went to Japan, won the U20 World Cup that season, and we all know he's a top 3 of all time as well. Attacking talents, that's what Gio and Uli are. I'll continue to rattle these guys off. Arjen Robben, yeah, the former Chelsea, Real Madrid, Bayern legend, right? No fue penal for all my Mexican buddies out there. Yeah, Arjen Robben lined up. He wasn't big time. He played a U20 World Cup. On the opposite wing, Coutinho, the Brazilian star. He had played for Inter Milan, 13 games, 6 Champions League games a season. Went and lined up and played in a World Cup. Alexis Sanchez, hey, the South American phenom duo of Uruguay. Edison Cavani, he was already at Palermo in Italy, as a sub, bagging goals his first season in Europe. He went and played the World Cup. His partner, Suarez, eternal partner, 13 goals in his first season in Europe, and Groningen in Holland. He went to the U20 World Cup. If we drop back to midfield, Cesc Fabregas, who today I think is anniversary of 16 years and 177 days since his debut. He was a 30-plus game starter for Arsenal and Arsene Wenger, and he went and he wasn't above it. He played for Spain. Andres Iniesta had debuted for Louis van Gaal in Barcelona. He wasn't big time. He said, hey, U20 football, World Cup, count me in. The culture of Spanish football, they didn't say these guys are above it. Let's wait. They're senior players. No, those guys were playing World Cups. And I could keep going all day. Arturo Vidal, Dani Alves, Marcelo, Felipe Luis, Maicon, Kaká, Adriano, James Rodriguez. Yeah, James, the guy I compared effort to. He had just transferred from Banfield to Porto for over 5 million euros. He had a great debut season, 20-plus games, 8 goals, 6 assists, something like that. This is a guy that got transferred later on to Real Madrid, who was a star of the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. These are phenoms, guys. Uli and Gio, will they be phenoms? Possibly. I guarantee you those guys are going to be part of our setup for a long time, but I don't know if they're going to be this type of phenom that I just rattled off. My point is, we cannot treat these guys like they're above it. Our footballing culture is not above it. Guys, I'll remind you again, we failed to qualify the last World Cup. We are not a superpower. We have not arrived. We cannot deprive our 2 best players from attaining this experience. We cannot deprive the rest of the pool, who is very talented, from having this experience, getting to a World Cup, competing in the World Cup, getting to knockout rounds, getting those experiences. Because guess what? Kobe needs that experience too. Guess what? Indy needs that experience too. Taylor needs it. And without these 2 guys, our chances of experiencing this stuff goes down the toilet. All right? So let's get our heads together. Let's make the right play. Let's understand that as a footballing nation, this hurts. I'll tell you how this hurts. Giovanni Reyna. Let's say we're successful. Gio and Uli get called to the U20s. Do we want to see the Gio, the one that we saw in Brazil? Because we're creating that. Us as a footballing nation, between the coaches and the fans, are creating another situation where Gio's going to feel above it. He's going to come and walk around on the field like he's top. He's going to flail his arms when his teammate doesn't give him the ball or he doesn't connect the pass. And it's going to be mediocre. Or do we want the real Gio, the one we see in his European adventures, the one we see sprinting 70 yards, hustling, the one that we see just so exciting and talented on the ball and difference maker and making the right plays and playing simple when he has to play simple? Which one do we want? Because we're choosing right now to get the one that we don't want to see. And that's unacceptable. We're creating that. Uli, I'm not so worried. Uli enjoys his football. He could be lining up to play a pickup game in his backyard with his family and friends. He could be lining up to play futsal, just random pickup ball. He could be playing U15 football, U17, U19, U20, U23, senior, Champions League, World Cup. Uli doesn't give a shit. He's going to bring the same thing every single time because that's the way he's wired, all right? Last point I'm going to make, guys, which is critical, is, I'm going to turn back the clock to this previous cycle because this is U20 football we're talking. Imagine the team that we had that made a great run, that was exciting, that had the whole country behind them. Imagine Tyler Adams playing the 6, instead of Chris Durkin. Tyler Adams' skill set would have helped the team so much more, right? His athleticism would have been the perfect fit for this team, playing alongside Mendes and Paxton in midfield. But, Tyler Adams had already played in the previous U20 cycle, so he was above it. Sure, Tyler Adams had a DFB Pokal final against Bayern Munich that interfered with the first game of the World Cup. Who cares? For a player like that, you bring him in for match day 2, match day 3 knockout rounds. You do it. No questions asked. What about Josh Sargent? We had a guy who, the previous U20 World Cup, killed it, scored, I think, 5 goals, maybe the leading scorer of the World Cup. Already debuted and played well for Werder Bremen. Already debuted and did well for our senior side. We considered Josh Sargent above it all. We created that culture, that decision-making. And Josh wasn't there. Imagine having Josh competing with Sebastian Soto, who had an incredible World Cup, having 2 top 9s there available. But again, we're acting like we're above it all. We're acting like the U.S. soccer is the dream team of basketball, that we can pick and choose what stars go to the Olympics or don't go. Imagine, in 2004, I'm talking dream team. 2004, some of the best players didn't go, but a dream team that still had LeBron James and D. Wade and Allen Iverson and Tim Duncan. They lost to Argentina in the semifinals. Yeah, Ginobili ran circles around those guys. The dream team. And then we all saw what happened after that. They're like, hell no, all the top guys are going to the Olympics since then, and they dropped 40 or 50-point wins every single game. We're not the dream team guys. My point is, we need our 2 best guys, Uli and Gio, with this group. And if there's a conflict, hey, listen, the only thing that keeps these guys off this group is if there's a direct conflict with the senior side, which there won't be because the FIFA calendar won't allow it. And the other excuse that I would think valid is if we had qualified to our previous World Cup, or let's say Qatar was this December, and Uli and Gio played for our senior men's national team in a World Cup senior side. Then I understand if next year, 18 months from now, those 2 guys shouldn't be moved down and playing a U20 World Cup. But that's not the case, guys. All right? No ifs and ands or buts about it. No excuses. Gio and Uli need to line up, qualify our team to the World Cup, star in that World Cup, take their careers to the next level, and take all that other 18, 20 great players in that pool with them. All right? I hope you guys enjoyed it. Any questions you may have about this, any comments, these are just my opinions. You'll have yours. I welcome all of them. I hope you guys enjoyed it.